it's Dina Stevens with Rocky Mountain
I would do it
Realty.
all
You know
again,
me,
you
I've
know.
been putting the Real into Realtor since 2004. This is part of an
And you really do
ongoing
mean that.
series that social media says you're interested in. So I'm
I could live
doing
this
these
life with you
videos.
over and
It
over
says you're
again.
interested in the day of a life of a real estate
Or even
agent.
one day.
And I'm going to throw in some frequently
Exactly
asked
the same as
questions,
before.
some other things that I think
And
you
never grow
might
tired
find
of you.
interesting. So one of the things I thought
Not
about
once.
sharing with you is how to read an inspection report.
People say
So
it
you've
comes
made
out of
an offer,
nowhere,
you've given the seller
that you'll find them when you're not
an offer to
looking.
buy. That seller has agreed to
I
sell
always
it to
laughed
you
at
for
the
a certain
cliche.
price, and you're entitled
idea
to
that it
do
would
a
ever be
property
me.
inspection.
To
So
be
I've given
blindsided
you a
in all the
list
best
of the
ways.
property inspectors to
And maybe this
call.
is just the beginning.
You can call them or
But you don't
somebody
feel
else
new
you
to
know
me.
or like, trust. Find out if they're available,
feel
what
like
they
home.
charge, if you can be there during the inspection. If you're not there during the inspection, I have to be there anyways. I have to, in this Canyon City, Fremont County area, we have to be present while the inspection's going on. And so you call the inspector, he or she shows up and runs an inspection. They look for variety of things, and this usually takes a couple of hours. And then at the end of this inspection, they give you a property inspection report. Typically, not always, but typically it's emailed to you, and usually it's sent to you by the end of the day, sometimes depending on the time of the day, the following day. And on the Colorado contract, there's a timeline that this will get done by this date. So if I'm working with you, I keep track of those dates. I call up and I say, hey, we've got to get that property inspection done. I haven't heard from your property inspector. They need to contact me because I'm the one who's going to open the door. So I have to be available for them to get in. And they're going to do this inspection that's going to take a couple of hours. They're going to do all sorts of things. Open and shut windows, look at the electrical boxes. They're going to look under sinks for leaks. They're going to turn on furnaces. They're going to turn on air conditioner. They're going to look for low spots in the yard. Probably they're going to look at a sewer line. They're going to get up on the roof. In some cases, they're going to get down in crawl spaces. They're going to look at as much as possible. So one of the things that often people say is, well, the seller gave me a property disclosure, and the property disclosure said everything's working. Well, I will guarantee you that not that the seller's lying necessarily. They may or may not be lying, but they probably just don't know. How often do you think about the sewer line in the house you're living in? You don't until there's a problem. So that's why you want to get a sewer inspection. What if there's a problem? I was in one house where everything went great. Now, this was not a pretty house. It was actually quite ugly. Nothing, paint and carpet couldn't fix. But the inspector said, hey, we're almost done. I have one more thing to do, but so far everything's coming out great. He went down into the crawl space, and the crawl space was flooded. There was 6 inches of water under the entire house. Seller had no idea it was there. This might be a problem. We actually backed out of that deal. So the inspector is going to send you, because you will have paid him or her already, for a property inspection report. And these things are typically, I don't know, at least a dozen pages, but sometimes as much as 30 or 40 pages long. Most inspectors will give you a summary, and how you read these is they may label things red, yellow, and green, meaning not acceptable at all, something you should be worried about, or working correctly. I will send you a letter that also says the first thing you need to look at is anything that's a safety problem is going to jeopardize your loan or jeopardize your property insurance. So if the inspector says the electrical box is way out of date, which can happen, it's not uncommon, that's a problem. So that's the first thing on your inspection objection you should go back to the seller with, and I'll do the paperwork that says the electrical box is way out of code and we can't get property insurance because the electrical's out of code. At that point, it becomes a negotiating point. Does the seller fix it? Do you accept it out of code? and we go back and forth negotiating. So we're looking for those things that are a safety concern, going to jeopardize your loan or jeopardize your insurance. And those are red flags. Yellow are things that may or may not be a problem. And the best example I can give is you didn't know there was a fire station around the corner and you don't want to listen to fire trucks coming and going all the time. Otherwise, this was a great location. Maybe your children can walk to school, or it's close to the park, or you can walk to work, or whatever. But you didn't realize there was a fire station nearby. Property inspector may or may not mention this, but this is during that inspection time. This is for you to find out if the neighboring area is acceptable to you. So I can't fix, and the seller can't fix the fact the fire station's too close and you're going to listen to fire trucks all night. Or you have an in-law or a coworker or somebody you don't like that lives across the street. We can't fix that. So those kind of things are maybe deal killers. They're non-negotiable. We can't move the fire station. The next thing is the inspector might put together like a to-do list. Maybe there's some outlets that are burnt out. The furnace filters need to be changed. Those are not deal killers. You can ask the seller to change the furnace filters, but are you really going to walk away from this property because the furnace filters haven't been changed? You can, but if you really have good intentions and you want this house, you should probably move forward. So during the property inspection, this is going on a long time, this video is, look at your, try to be there for your property inspection so the inspector can point out specific things like where the water shutoff is in case there's an emergency. Read your property inspection. Don't assume the seller knew everything because the seller may not have known some of these things. And some of these things are negotiable and some of them aren't. So that's how you read a property inspection. Hey, thanks for watching this ongoing series about the life of a real estate agent and frequently asked questions.